What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Svet. I play the game Rise of Kingdoms on Apple and Android. It's a mobile game. I've been playing for quite a while now, and I love sharing information with you guys about how I strategize in certain events. The event we are going to be talking about tonight is Ian's Ballads. This is one of my favorites as well. It's a really good time. Honestly, it took quite a few attempts at this. I think we've been doing this for probably about 9 months at this point. It took quite some time to figure out all the tips and tricks and ins and outs of this event to do it as fast as possible so you don't have to spend 30, 45 minutes doing it, and how you can get it done on hell mode if you do fit that power requirement. If you guys like videos and learning tips and tricks on how to do events like Ian's Ballads or anything like that, like Ceroli, Ark of Osiris, or anything like that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do put out a ton of videos on everything that I do in this game to be most efficient and get the most rewards possible. Okay, so the first thing you saw me do right there actually was go ahead and apply the 5% attack buff. That's one thing that I wasn't really sure if I could do it in this event, but I went ahead and popped it prematurely and then went in and checked the rules to make sure that I could. Turns out you can, so if you guys are curious, go ahead and pop that buff. Just the 5%, don't waste any 10% on it. The second thing I do as well is go ahead and apply all of my best equipment on the commander I want to use. So any events like these where you can only use one commander or one march at a time, you want to just go ahead and throw all of your best equipment on that commander that you plan on using. So I went ahead and threw it on Sao right there. I end up doing this event a couple of times. It turns out that it is quite a laggy event, and last night when I did it through my first time, I had a bunch of people at my house on the internet, so it was really laggy. I went ahead and threw in the clips of those initial rewards that I was getting from my attempt last night, and then went ahead and redid it today so I could show you guys the full strategy that I use for getting this done quickly. So we call this the speed strategy. I know a lot of you guys have probably figured this out as well, but for those of you that are newer to Rise of Kingdoms or haven't really figured out how to do Ian's Ballad as quickly as possible, go ahead and check this out. So the first thing we do right here is we don't even worry about any of the barbarians along the way. We just go ahead and pick I think it's called the resting keep or the resting camp. And so I go straight for the second one. Somebody in here does go for the first one. But what I do is I just go ahead and go straight for that second resting camp. If you're using Cav and you have some faster commanders, you can definitely get there without dying. And so the strategy here is not to kill all of these barbarians along the way. It's really just to get it done as fast as possible. So I know it may seem a little bit weird to those of you that go through this and kill every single one, and it takes 30 or 45 minutes. And look, if you like doing that and you enjoy killing every single one, by all means keep doing that. But the first time I did this event on hell mode, I think it took me 45 minutes, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this every single time this event comes out. Of course I would, because the rewards are pretty good for this. But I was super happy to find out a really fast way to do this. And so, yeah, as you can see, all of us are just marching to the second resting camp. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get there, unlock it, and then, which seems obviously a little counterintuitive, we are going to die. So once we get to that second camp, we're going to go ahead and die. I realized here that the guy I was playing with was going to beat me there. He had a Belisarius. I was marching with Moto. In my second attempt, I did switch the equipment over to Moto. I wanted that extra skill damage to take down the bosses faster. I did notice that he was going to beat me there. So what I did was I actually stopped short. So I stopped right before like the boss canyon or arena or whatever you want to call it, trying to get the barbs to just stay away. So that way we could be a little bit faster, because as you can see, they're going to follow us all over here. And once we all die, they go back to wherever position they were in before you drag them all over here. So as I was kind of doing this match, I was trying to make it go faster by staying back. Whoever's going to be the first to that second resting camp, go to the resting camp, but then the second, third, and fourth person should always wait back. That way, you drag all of those barbarians back already, and it helps get it done a little bit faster. Last night, I was able to play the match, which was very laggy, unfortunately. Like I said, but I was able to play the match with people in my alliance and people that really know how to do this speed mode, where we can get it done quick. But this guy, we had one player who wasn't really familiar with it because I just did a random matchmaking, and we kind of had to chat a little bit. I know you guys can't see the chat box in the bottom left, but we kind of just had to chat a little bit and just tell him, hey, like, you're just gonna die, and then we just keep going, and it kind of clicked. And I'm not sure if maybe he had never done it this way or whatever. But once it kind of clicks and you see what the strategy is here, it's kind of like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Why weren't we doing this the whole time? Don't get down on yourself. I'm not kidding. I did it the long way, probably 3 or 4 times, and then joined a random matchmaking, and someone else in the game, I don't know who it was, just sent a chat saying we're doing the fast mode or speed mode, and then I learned how to do this. So it's not always from trial and error. Sometimes you meet a random person in random matchmaking and you learn some new things. So you don't always have to do these with your alliance. You can do it with some randoms who definitely have a different perspective on the game, and you can learn some new stuff. And so the first boss here is pretty easy. I did go with the DPS skill tree here, or the DPS tree, whatever it's called there. I did notice one thing that I would probably like better, because in the speed mode, you really aren't afraid of dying. So what I wanted to do here, instead of, I've got the extra damage dealt for, I think it's 20 seconds. Then I've got the fireball that goes in, which does a bunch of damage. Then I've got the healing there, which I might use once in this match, but I actually don't think it's too useful. There is one more thing called like a guarded sword or something strike or something like that you can throw in. That's an extra damage doer. I would have much rather had that than that healing that you see in the bottom right there. So if I was going to do this again, which I've done it twice now, maybe I'll do it one more time for fun. I would definitely throw that extra damage doer in there rather than having the healing, because again, it's in the speed mode that we're doing here. It doesn't really matter if you die, and you end up dying a couple times anyways. So it's really not the end of the world to replace that with the one that does extra damage. And so right here, just going through some of the rewards, we've got 20 of the Ian's chests and 3 of those crystal keys. Those are the ones that I'm really focused on. The chests give off blueprint fragments, and those crystal keys, as you guys know, if you've opened a few, those also give off fragments, and they give some blueprint fragments as well as other random stuff for equipment. And then you do get the 3, I think it was 3 or 4 purple randoms. So you get the epic random material generating chests, which they are random, so they're not as valuable as the pick'ems, of course, but it's really nice to get that high of a level chest for an event that you can do in 15 minutes, and it's pretty easy and simple. As you guys noticed, right after we finished that boss, we collected those materials, and we are going straight for this third resting camp. So we're going straight to that third one. We're not dealing with any of these barbarians along the way. As you can see, we have a huge horde of barbarians just chasing us around. But it doesn't matter, because we're going to go down anyways. All we have to do is unlock that resting camp, and then we're going to be perfectly fine. Once we go down, we can just respawn there, then tackle the boss by himself, rather than having to deal with all these barbs, taking all the time to do it. And of course, we couldn't fight him with all those barbs around us anyways. So that's really what you do. As soon as you get those rewards, as soon as you guys have healed up, go immediately to that next resting camp. And then as you see right here, we just kind of go into the middle and let these barbs take us out. So we're just going to get swarmed one by one here. You will go down surprisingly fast when there's that many, which is kind of nice. It helps you go through the match a little bit faster. Again, this was the guy that I guess really maybe hadn't done this method before. And so this is the second boss, and he was kind of trying to fight, but then was like, oh, I'm supposed to die. So, once it kind of clicks for you, it's going to be super simple to do the speed method all the time. And so we went down there. So we're all good, and now we're all respawning from the resting camp. And because I switched from last night, I'm having to manually do my marches, which if I was doing a time trial in this, like I would want to preset those marches, right? But not the end of the world here. We did go with 2 DPS, 1 tank, and 1 support. It's always nice to have a tank, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, with big T5 players, good equipment, and good commanders, you could probably do all DPS here. But it is always good to have a tank there that can just ensure that you're going to get through each boss. This second boss here, he releases bears. When you're fighting the second boss, you don't need to worry about the bears coming at you. You don't need to like change your attack from the boss to the bears. What we do the whole time is just attack this boss, just continuously, regardless of what he's spawning or anything like that. It is a little bit different for the third boss. So what's upcoming next is the third boss. And you do actually want to focus on some of the stuff that he spawns. But right now for this second boss, you see he just spawned the bears right there. They're really not that strong. So you can just kind of let those hit you. And if you've got some people that have some AoE, whether it's YSG or maybe Aethelflaed or something like that, that will take them out over time. So you really don't need to change fighting the boss to fighting the bears. Just keep hitting that boss, take care of him, and then you'll be done with this boss sooner. And so you can see here, I'm still about 50-60% health. I think I've been hit by 1 or 2 bears. So the bosses are surprisingly kind of easy. I mean, I'm not sure if Lilith is going to catch on here and figure out that, we're getting through this event super fast and it's not necessarily, that difficult. But I guess if you had to hit every single barb along the way, it might be a little more difficult, of course, and definitely take more time. But they go down pretty quick. The last boss can be a little tricky. He's the only one. The first boss goes down easy. The second one goes down easy. And then the last one's a little more difficult. But so the rewards on the next one, you get 25 of those Ian's chests. I got 4 crystal keys there and 4 more of those purple random equipment chests, which is great. So those are all good. I didn't get lucky with any of the speed ups. Some of my alliance members were getting the training speed ups. I ended up getting like research and building, which if you watched my wheel video, Lilith loves to give me research and building speed ups. My Alex wheel video. If you haven't watched that yet, check it out. It's on my channel. You can watch me waste some gems spinning the Alex wheel. I can't wait for the next one. I really hope my luck's a lot better. Okay, so as you enter the final boss stage here, you don't get to hit the final boss immediately. You do have to hit some other troops first. The strategy here is to go to the far left or the far right, or you can stay by the gate behind that totem right there. So that little stone thing that's kind of glowing. You can stay behind that, so closer to the gate or south of that totem, or you can go far right or far left. The reason for that is that you can heal in between beating all these pre-boss like barbs and whatever that guy is there, rather than having to go straight to the boss. Because if you have to fight all these and you guys are a little low on health or maybe even halfway down on your health, you're not going to be able to beat the final boss. So the trick here is to go, like I said, far left, far right, or stay south of that totem closer to the gate. They will all come to you wherever you are. You don't necessarily have to stay together either. So we had the one guy who probably wasn't too familiar with the speed method. He had Ramesses and YSG. He stayed to the far right, and then the three of us stayed far left. And we were able to do it fine. He was able to take him out on his own over there. You see sometimes he's kind of just like sitting there on his own. But it still worked fine. So as you'll see in the upcoming like minute or two, we take all these out. We're on opposite sides of this arena, and we are all able to heal before having to fight the boss. So it works out. You guys don't have to be together. You can be split up, and it'll still work out fine. But like I said, it's major key right here is to be far left, far right, because you're going to need to heal before you fight that boss. If you don't, you'll go down. Then you'll have to go fight the boss again, which is not the end of the world. You don't lose or anything, but it does take some time to do that. So you want to take advantage of being far enough away from that boss to heal, take him out, and get a really good time on beating this event. As you can see in the top right, you got the counter. So right now we're about 12, 13 minutes into this event. I think when it's all said and done, it takes 15 minutes, which is pretty good. Like I said, the first time I did this was like 45 minutes. It might even have been longer. And for me to be able to do this in 15 minutes and get all those rewards is great. Huge fan of the event. And it definitely takes some planning and some strategy. You know, if you had to fight every single one, it would be much harder. And then, of course, you got to plan to have the right equipment on your commanders. You got to have the right commanders to do it right as well. So it's not just easy in itself. It did take some learning. But it's great if it takes 15 minutes and you can get all those rewards. Drinking my bubbly. All right, so we're getting close to beating. I think there might be. Let's see what that is. Oh, okay. So they pop these little chests along the way as well, and so one of the guys on my team got it there. Okay, here's the key. So see, the boss is just sitting in the middle, and he's not attacking us. So we were able to heal up to full health for everybody, even the guy on the right, all three of us on the left. Now we can attack the boss with full health. We're ready to go. And now we can take this guy down without having any issues or having to retry it again. And yeah, so there's these little chests along the way as well. They're definitely worth getting. They don't really give you much to brag about, but it's definitely worth it. You're already in here. You're already spending the time doing the event. Why not get all the rewards that it gives you? Okay, and as I said, I mean, you know, the last boss is the hardest, but none of these bosses are really that difficult. This one just is a little tricky. So what you'll see coming up here is he's going to spawn a healing totem. And it is absolutely crucial that at least one of the players in the match go and kill that healing totem immediately. It actually heals the boss very quickly. So you have to get there and kill it ASAP, or else that boss is going to start healing up and it's going to get harder and harder to beat him overall. You also want to be firing any damage dealing skills that you can when you're fighting this boss. So fireballs, if you've got that sword strike thing, the guardian sword strike or whatever it is, fire that. Anything you've got that does more damage, hit that boss with everything you have. And again, as you see me there, you got to go get those healing totems immediately because they really start to add health to the boss quickly. So the faster you get there and take them down, the easier it is to finish this event. And we're coming in on the end here for this boss. And as you can see in the counter, we're at about 14 minutes and 55 seconds in, and we are done. So that's it for killing all the bosses in Ian's Ballads, which, like I said, is great. For the rewards that you get here for 15 minutes of your time and just a little bit of trickiness, you get some really good stuff. And so the rewards I grab on this one looks like 30 of the Ian's chests. I got 5. And then I got 5 crystal keys as well. So I got 5 of those purple chests and then 5 crystal keys as well. Then the event's done. So 15 minutes of your time, you get a ton of little equipment rewards, and it just adds up. And then, so just to go over the rewards one more time, I'm going to show you guys here on my screen, kind of when it's a little more clear and we're not in a rush to move on to the next boss or whatnot. The biggest thing here is definitely going to be those crystal keys. Those are expensive. You obviously get one for completing all of your, looks like I got 6 of those purple chests on the last one. Here's open the 75 Ian's chests that I got as well. And they're okay. You know, they build up over time, so it's nice that we get this event every once in a while, but it's nothing crazy. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. If you guys have any opinions on this or any other ways of doing this faster, drop a comment below. If you like these videos, hit that subscribe button, and I will keep the content coming for you guys. Have a great night.